Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Pole Position Podcast for the 2021 F1 season, and quite possibly the best race of the season so far. Myself, Jack Price, is joined by my guest as usual, Jamie Davies. We both did a live stream for the race on the Let's Talk Sport YouTube channel, and wow, did we not go through every emotion possible in that race, Jamie. It had everything from Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc at the beginning of the race, Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull all fighting at the top, and then to top it all off we had Sergio Perez win the race. Now, as a Mexican fan, from your side, how happy are you that Sergio Perez came out on top in this race?
I mean, wow. Never did I think during that race did I expect... I said Perez will get a podium, but he won't win the race. Because when Verstappen and Hamilton are there, you'd think, no, this is he's not going to beat them two, who are clearly much quicker and have more experience over Perez when being at the front. But no, I did not expect Verstappen and Hamilton to fail. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I know Perez will take the win because of a couple of drivers failing at the end and not finishing the race, but at the end of the day, a win's a win. Yeah. And it shows that despite the early pressures I think he's had at Red Bull, he's gone and got his first ever race win within 6 races at Red Bull, which I think he deserves a lot of credit for. Yeah. So absolutely thrilled for him. And I think it gets him third in the championship, and Red Bull can actually say they've had a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. It didn't look like it when Max Verstappen had his issue. I think around lap 46 out of 51, was controlling the race for most of it, and obviously Leclerc was on pole position at the beginning. Both Verstappen and Hamilton sort of brushed past Leclerc after a few laps. And it was very much sort of them two in the contention. But I think after maybe the first rounds of pit stops, Max Verstappen was sort of leading the pace for most of it. Was about 4 to 5 seconds in front of Perez for most of the half of the race and be able to control the pace. Hamilton struggled to get past Perez, so it's a great job from Perez on that side as well. But with only a few laps to go, we obviously saw Lance Stroll go out halfway through the race, which brought out a safety car. Only one safety car actually, which was surprising. I thought there would be more on it. We obviously go on to the red flag a little bit later, but Stroll obviously had that issue. But on lap 46, when he looks so much in control, Max Verstappen has a puncture and sort of spins out on the sort of pit straight a little bit further on to where Lance Stroll had the same tyre issues as well. Absolutely gutting for Max Verstappen, but it looked to be gutting for Red Bull as well in terms of the championship against Mercedes, because Hamilton was obviously in second place at that point. So it was looking like a bit of a poor day for Red Bull in that perspective for the championship. But Verstappen looked in control, unlucky to not get any points, but absolute bonus on his side that Hamilton had an issue as well.
Hamilton will take that really badly as well, because if he hadn't won the race, no shame, you'd have still got points over Verstappen and been top of the championship. I think second or third, anything like that would have been absolutely fine for Hamilton. And of course he's got to go for the win. But to go out like that when he had Perez, let's be honest, Perez looked like he was going to get second after that first turn. But to lose the car out like that, it's going to haunt him. Yeah. Because we've still got plenty of races still to go, plenty of opportunities for both drivers to have a go at going top again and all that. But if he loses the World Championship, Jack, by just a few points, he'll look back at that and it will haunt him.
Absolutely, and from what I can see on the notes, it looks like he had a discussion with his engineer Pete Bonington at the end as well, and he said
about Perez's rear arse. Yes,
a lot of people are laughing at that. I did mention that at the end when he said, Perez's rear looks. I can't remember what did he say. It looks great, or I can't remember what he actually pointed in there. He's got so much rear or something from Lewis Hamilton. But most importantly, in regards to him losing it on the standing start after the red flag, he said he'd left one of the brake switches on, or they called it the magic button on the restart. He should have turned it off when they sort of rolled up to the grid again. And obviously that contributed into his turn 1 fiasco. But that's the second mistake in 6 races, really, with his mistake he had in Imola, again, which we live streamed. is more mistakes than we've seen from Hamilton in a while. Is this actually pressure from this actual battle he's having this year, do you think? Or is it just that they're just happening?
I just wonder. I think we've got to look at the fact that Red Bull clearly had a better car than Mercedes this weekend, just looking at the race pace, because when Perez was defending his second place, we both thought that at some point Hamilton was going to take over, and he never did.
Yeah.
Never did throughout the whole race. And we're talking early laps here, all the way up until Verstappen went out of the race, and the race had to be suspended for a good half an hour or so.
Yeah.
And I do think maybe just for this weekend, the Honda was much more fittable for them in the Baku circuit. Because look at the AlphaTauri, they got third as well with a Honda engine. So I do think I don't think Hamilton should take it so badly in terms of the way it's gone, but I do think at the same time he's got to be concerned, because we're seeing quite a championship battle here still. Lots of races to go, but at the moment it's Verstappen who's holding on at the moment.
Yeah, and for points in terms of Verstappen, then was obviously gutting, because he was basically in control of that race, wasn't it? Had it not been for the tyre problems.
Yeah, and I think this is where Pirelli have got a lot to deal with, because I said to you, if it happens to one driver, not many people will talk about it. They'll just say it's just a one-off maybe. But when two cars do it on the same area of the track with the same tyre as well, pretty much. Yeah, that's definitely a Pirelli issue there, I think. And I think we'll hear in the next few days what Pirelli will do. But I still believe in this whole thing of let's get two tyre manufacturers. I think there should be a choice. I think there should be some competition on who to go for, like we do with engines in a way. There's different types of engines, different types of supplies, etc. And I think it should be the same with tyres.
Yeah. It's definitely a discussion to have for sure, because it is strange that they had two tyre sort of issues on the same corner, as it were on exactly the same tyre compound as well, which is supposed to be the most durable one, which is the hard compound tyre. So yeah, definitely something to look at. So a fantastic day for Sergio Perez, and obviously for Red Bull as well, because even though Verstappen doesn't get any points, both Mercedes drivers don't. We'll just quickly mention Bottas, because 12th place, started 10th, didn't really get anywhere, and like I say, he's both Giovinazzi, Raikkonen finished ahead of him, just nowhere, was he? Absolutely nowhere.
What the hell happened with that car?
Yeah.
Surely must have been a car issue.
I haven't seen anything yet.
No, I haven't. I mean, no one's really talked. I mean, to be honest with you, because of what we saw in the race, I completely forgot about Bottas.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure, because I'm hoping for his sake the car wasn't very good and it had the worst parts compared to Hamilton's. But yeah, it's not looking good, because Red Bull are no doubt, for me, have got a better second driver at the moment.
Yeah.
I think this is when the recruitment of Perez has been justified.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Bottas had an absolute nightmare. I think he was unlucky in qualifying yesterday, so hampered him, where he started today. But yeah, just woeful. We know Mercedes isn't good in traffic, but that's just a bit of a joke, isn't it? So yeah, not a great day for Mercedes. Scored no points. The top two stay exactly the same on points as well, because neither of them scored any. Verstappen, I think, got the fastest lap, but of course doesn't count if you're not in the top 10. But let's go back to the nicer side and what happened, and go back to the podium. Obviously Sergio Perez absolutely ecstatic, but someone else we're evilly happy for is Sebastian Vettel, finishing in second place. Sebastian Vettel, absolutely fantastic performance. Got driver of the day as well, well deserved.
I mean, I can't believe it. Like in just a few races, Vettel, who looked like we had even podcasts of David Coulthard criticising Vettel by saying how he's gone from a world champion to now being a forgotten driver.
Yeah. And
in the last two races, Vettel's actually got himself in a good patch, fifth in Monaco, which you feel like that might have just been a one-off. Just one of those weekends for Vettel, but the fact that he's been able to do it again this weekend, he's nailed it. And he would have got podium anyway, even if it wasn't for Hamilton going off the track. So podium was pretty much sorted for him, as long as he kept his position on the first turn when they restarted. So I am happy for Vettel, and I hope for his sake his confidence has gone right up after that.
Yeah, and like I said, we saw after him when he was doing the interviews, a happy Vettel as well. And like you said, the confidence from the race in Monaco, Great strategy by the team, but this one again sort of went on a longer stint and had fresher tyres, going to that point when Verstappen had an issue as well. So possibly if another driver had it not maybe gone to a red flag situation where they were able to put new tyres on, maybe could have clawed some more points back up. But second place is fantastic for Aston Martin and Pierre Gasly as well for AlphaTauri. I mean, again, like you said during the live stream, Gasly may be a little bit annoyed that Perez as the number 2 driver actually won the race because he obviously wants that seat. But in terms of Gasly, still a great position to be on another podium for him.
Yeah, I mean, Gasly, surely he's not going to be at AlphaTauri next year. Like, surely he's got to move on.
Yeah.
Because he won a race last year. He got a podium as well. The year before that, when he had to make the switch back to AlphaTauri. Well, it was Toro Rosso, I think, at the time. And then to get a podium again today, which he was 4th in qualifying. And he's proven that he can hold the car up and still get it even doing better.
Yeah.
And our friend Connor asked us if Gasly would improve today before the race had started, and I honestly didn't think so, because if the usual faces of Verstappen, Bottas and Hamilton are there at least, then probably not.
Yeah.
But Charles Leclerc proved that he couldn't keep the car out at the front with the race pace. He struggled against an AlphaTauri. I'm not saying that's Leclerc's fault, it's probably just a car issue with Baku on the street circuits, but I think for Gasly that's an amazing... I mean, 4th would have been a great result, but 3rd, it's just an absolute bonus for him and AlphaTauri. And for me, I just think it's getting to that point with Gasly where he can't have one more season in an AlphaTauri, maybe be at the team for the rest of the season. And he clearly loves it there. He's clearly got close friends that he's got in the coach because he clearly enjoys winning and celebrating with them every time. But at some point, you just got to think, well, this talent's being wasted, and that's no thanks to Christian Horner.
Yeah, but where would he go?
That's the thing. I don't know. I mean, is Perez warming the seat up for him? We will have to see. If Perez's season doesn't go as well as I hope, then maybe it is Gasly knocking on the door. But would Gasly take the seat again after what happened? Some people believe in the whole thing of, no, I could take that offer, but after what happened, I don't think it's worth it. I think there would be an offer for Gasly somewhere. I don't know where, but when you look at the teams at the moment, would McLaren give him a shot?
Depends on how Daniel Ricciardo continues with this.
I just don't rate Daniel Ricciardo one bit. You know what I think of him? I think he's a very overrated driver. And we'll see what happens. But where's Ricciardo been this season so far?
Yeah.
Compared to Lando Norris. But, McLaren might want to look at him. Ferrari, maybe. I know this seems daft what I'm saying, but sometimes you just see a really good talent in someone that's making a really average team look very, very good.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to reject. It's hard to go against what they're doing at the moment.
I think a team that maybe you missed on that maybe they could look at as well, considering how long Fernando Alonso might stay in the sport, is another French driver for a French team. Could you look at maybe Ocon and Gasly for Alpine or whatever their name is going to be going forward?
Perfect PR, isn't it?
Yeah.
A French team with French drivers, like when McLaren had Hamilton and Button. In 2010 at the start of the season, they had the 2 previous world champions.
Yeah.
2 British drivers for a British team.
Yeah.
In terms of PR and all that, it's perfect. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens to Pierre Gasly then, but I think he certainly helped his sort of credentials and his CV finishing 3rd in this chaotic race that we've had. Quick mention on Charles Leclerc, because obviously it doesn't, if you looked at it maybe at the start, considering he had pole position, not the greatest finishing in 4th place, but considering during the race where we thought Ferrari would be maybe a lot further down, finishing in 4th actually isn't that bad for Ferrari and Leclerc in the end.
I think we're seeing from Ferrari that they're actually doing probably better than we thought.
Yeah. Because
at the end of the day, they're going to try and fight for the 3rd place, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think they're the favourites to get 3rd place in the Constructors. McLaren have been great as well. Lando Norris, he's in the top 4, top 5 in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. So I think with Ferrari, they're doing okay. They're saving it for next year, I'm sure. We can both agree on that. But Leclerc, another pole position for him. That was 2 in a row, and that's 9 career pole positions for him.
Yeah.
But are we seeing this kind of Ferrari that we saw in 2013, where amazingly the Mercedes car has got qualifying pace, but come race day, it's just not as good?
Yeah, I think that in terms of the Ferrari, it was great. It did look. I think they were suited for qualifying yesterday, which hampered them in the race today. I think, like I said, Matteo Binotto said after the qualifying that they may struggle in the race tomorrow because maybe they've geared up for the one lap pace for qualifying. So, but yeah, 4th place overall. I mean, Carlos Sainz actually finishing in 8th position. If I just go on to the second Ferrari driver, actually getting some points when he looked like he'd had a mishap. You said on the stream how well he was doing, and then less than half a lap later, he's gone down the slip road. So, but even after that and falling down the order again, still gets some points. So a double point scoring finish for Ferrari. Like you said, McLaren are sort of in that same position for 3rd place. Again, they have 2 drivers in the points. Lando Norris finishing in 5th. Daniel Ricciardo in 9th place. I mean, it's a bit of a surprise actually to see Norris finishing in 5th. Obviously, we've had people that retired like Verstappen and Hamilton, but McLaren had a very lonely, quiet race. We didn't really see much from the McLaren boys, really.
No, I mean, not their circuit, I don't think.
No, but we didn't see anything. There was not really much action going on for them, was there? I didn't really see it.
No, I mean, I think they have just had a quiet race, haven't they?
Yeah.
But again, when you look at how Norris is doing this season, I think he was in the top 5 at one point, but he did have a grid penalty, so let's not forget about that. The red flag issue on Saturday kind of ruined what happened for him.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, 5th place isn't bad for Lando Norris after what happened.
Yeah.
I think it's been a good weekend for McLaren. It's one of those weekends where at least they can say they had 2 drivers finishing in the top 10, when the likes of Red Bull and Mercedes are trying to get further and further away with their drivers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I say, and I mean, mentioned there also in 6th position for Fernando Alonso. He was wandering around maybe just inside the top 10 at one point, in and around Ricciardo and Raikkonen, but managed to get his way up into 6th place. Didn't really see much of him, but that's another strong Fernando Alonso performance, former world champion plucking the points out of nowhere.
I completely forgot he got 6th.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's out of nowhere, isn't it? He just sort of made them positions his own.
He had a great start, though, didn't he? He went up 3 places, I think, at the start of the race.
Yeah.
Perez did the same. So, yeah, Alonso, as he's known for, is those start races. He just seems to gain places out of nowhere, which just makes him really talented. But it's good to see him getting some points and actually doing better than Ocon for a change. I know Ocon had to retire early on, which looked to have been a manufacturer problem, mechanical problem. But it's good to see because, again, it's just like with Vettel, but with Alonso. Needs to have a good result to just remind himself that, yes, I can do it.
Yeah.
Despite how long I've been out for or how long it's been since I was at this point.
But also Ocon, you mentioned obviously I think he was lap 4 or lap 5 that he went out due to looks like an engine issue. We haven't had a confirmation on that while we're recording, but looked like it was an engine issue. But he also looked pretty good. He made some places up the order as well, and Alpine did look strong here. So they might be a little bit disappointed that Ocon wasn't able to maybe get some points. He could have been up there in and around Gasly and Leclerc. 3rd and 4th if they continued that as well. So I think Aston Martin would say the same thing, because I think Stroll was on a good long stint. He hadn't stopped. He was the only one that hadn't pitted, was he, before he had that tyre issue for Stroll, I think. So.
Yeah. That's the one thing I would really like to see, which is what was the problem with the tyres? Was it Red Bull and Aston Martin's fault for using them for too long, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because hard tyres don't last that long, do they? And it is a bit of a concern how they were both the same tyres, and on the rear as well. I'm not really sure what to think of it.
Yeah, I think we'll have to wait and see if Pirelli announce anything in regards to the investigations for both tyres, but it is weird that they were on the same tyre. Because I think, like we said, we mentioned Silverstone 2013. I think they were all the same. Were they all the same tyre as well? I think
It was always the rear tyres, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah,
It was
but
definitely
they shredded,
for Hamilton.
didn't they?
They shredded. Yeah,
they shredded
it was
completely. They were
this,
crazy.
This was just a puncture.
Puncture, yeah.
It's a weird one. I mean, I don't know how you'd even start on that, but my analysis straight away would be: is it just possible that maybe the cars used them for too long?
Yeah.
And then obviously when we had the restart after Verstappen, everyone changed their tyres to softs.
Yeah.
And obviously nothing was really going to be dramatic in the last 2 laps, but if there's still that little thing in you thinking that, oh God, someone's tyres are going to blow up in a minute.
That was the thing. I wasn't sure whether they would go back out on the older tyres they had, but considering they've been there so long, for safety reasons, I expect they probably had to change them, because then tyres had gone maybe almost 30 laps for some drivers. Then they'd go back to being cold again, even though they're in the blankets. They don't get the actual race warm-up, as it were. So even after 1 lap, they probably would have been absolutely trash. So I think maybe they decided to allow everyone to put the softs on. But yeah, I mean,
well, as you said, you want to keep it as memorabilia.
If I was Max Verstappen and I won the championship at the end of the season, I would take the tyre issue I had and sort of have it as a memento, as it were, because like this could have been the tyre that screwed me, but luckily Lewis did his own thing, and
Lewis forgot to press the button.
Lewis forgot to press the magic button, as it were. So yeah, but if we go, let me just have a look. Who have we got left there? So Sonoda in 7th place. Again, obviously AlphaTauri 3rd and 7th. Good points for them. Very much still in the mix with Ferrari and McLaren to possibly get that sort of 3rd place. I think it will be obviously still between McLaren and Ferrari, but if AlphaTauri can continue this momentum. Daniel Ricciardo, like I said, 9th. Kimi Raikkonen finishing off the final point score finish. Giovinazzi, or the Italian Jesus, as our stream likes to call him, just missed out on the points in 11th place. But yeah, Kimi Raikkonen getting the final point. We've mentioned Bottas is atrocious thing. I'm not sure what happened there at all. We might get some information from Mercedes to say there were an issue, but yeah, it just wasn't a great day for Bottas. Wasn't the first Finn. Raikkonen beat him to it this time round. And then we've got the 2 Hasses. So we've got Schumacher and Mazepin. Technically says on the classification that he finished above Hamilton. So I'm not too sure if that is actually the confirmed race classification. But we have got Schumacher, then Mazepin, and then Lewis Hamilton in 15th position. We then have Nicholas Latifi in 16th, and George Russell, I think, was a loss of power, so I don't think he finished the last couple of laps. I think that was an issue. He went into the pits, didn't he, just before the standing start, so that I think was a loss of power for him. And then of course we have Max Verstappen, who went out on lap 46. Lance Stroll had a tyre issue, he also went out, caused a safety car, and Esteban Ocon went out a couple of laps before. So if I just mention the driver standings, Jamie, that neither of the top 2 have finished. Neither of the top 2 have made any gains, because obviously both of them got no points or nil points. So
make the most out of that.
Yeah, 105 still for Max Verstappen and 101 still for Lewis Hamilton. Sergio Perez obviously gained some this time round, now 3rd, like you said, on 69 points. Lando Norris did get some, but Sergio Perez obviously gets the win. So Lando Norris is on 66. Leclerc 52 points. Bottas in 6th place with 47 points only, but the only consolation for him is that his teammate didn't get any points either, so there wasn't really much to spare there. Carlos Sainz 7th, Gasly 8th, Vettel 9th now on the terms of the Drivers' Championship, Daniel Ricciardo in 10th place. If I just quickly go to the Constructors, because obviously there will be some gains for Red Bull this weekend with Perez winning and Mercedes getting nothing. So Red Bull are now on 174 points, with Mercedes on 148. Ferrari are pretty close with McLaren with 94 and 92, for McLaren on 92. AlphaTauri in 5th, Aston Martin 6th with some points today, Alpine 7th, Alfa Romeo with 2 points now in 8th, Haas with 0, and Williams also with 0 points. But if I just quickly go, say, back to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, complete opposite really to Monaco. We didn't do a podcast for that, but ultimately the Monaco Grand Prix was okay. I know you did a live stream for it, but it's the qualifying for Monaco, isn't it? Whereas at least with Baku, I think it was both, because both of them were entertaining.
It was both, yeah. Baku for me is the modern day street circuit, where I think it suits the modern day Formula One car, but also you do have some action as well.
Yeah.
There are still a lot of corners that you can't really overtake on, but you've got that long straight and turn one,
exactly,
which has proven to be the best part of the circuit in my eyes. I just think it's been great. I can't recall an Azerbaijan race being crap. Like, there's always something that's happened. I mean, the Ricciardo Verstappen crash on the straight.
I think Lance Stroll got his podium.
Got his podium there and got pipped to third at the end on the straight from Bottas, I think it was. But it's always had memories already, and we've only had the circuit since 2016 or 17. Perez got podium once as well with Racing Points, so there's been a lot of stories from that circuit in the very short time it's been on the calendar. My problem is with Monaco is, even if the cars aren't going to be as big as they were this year when the new regulations are in next year, I just don't think Monaco's modern. I just feel like it's a tradition that it has to be there because it's been there since the very first day of F1 pretty much. I'm not saying get rid of it, but maybe change the track a little. Maybe add new things. I don't know.
The track?
Well, is it Formula E? They have it like they've got features of the circuit that aren't the full circuit, if that makes sense. Like they go to a different route instead.
Okay.
I don't watch Formula E, so I don't know what the Monaco race is like, but I just think maybe change it a little bit because what's the point? You can't overtake.
Yeah.
What's that? That's not racing.
Yeah.
It's just to say I was fast before. That's why I won. And it's just not. That's not. It shouldn't be that. I'll be happy to see Monaco go. A lot of F1 fans would jump on my back and say, "No, you can't say that." Well, I want to see a race. I don't want to see boredom. And Azerbaijan, I think, is a good example of being a street circuit for once. I actually quite like.
Yeah, and I think
Singapore's been boring as well.
Yeah, well, I was going to mention that. I think we're happy to have other races coming through in other street circuits, but they have to be worth it or entertaining. Like Saudi Arabia, I'm not too sure about because it's a street circuit, but I don't know about that one. And same with Miami, it's a street circuit, but again, I don't know about the overtakes or how enjoyable it's going to be as a race. Whereas Baku has the sort of twisting turns going up the castle bit as well, quite narrow there, like you said. But it also has that long straight where the DRS can be used and the toe can be used to get them overtakes done. So it has a good combination. I think it's been one of the best races we've had added to the calendar for a long time. I think if we say we lost a race like that, it'd be like losing Malaysia, for example, because I think losing that was a great track. And we've still got some circuits like Monaco, for example, that you don't really get anything from.
But you see, this is when I would have the likes of Malaysia and Turkey back on the calendar instead of Monaco and Singapore. Yeah. But they need to go there because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
There was a great blog I read recently about why F1 has these races, and it is simply because they're going where the money is.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the racing will be like for the drivers. So you got to look at it from a business perspective and go, fair enough. But as a fan, not for it.
Yeah, but very much interested in seeing the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, stay on the calendar for a long period of time. The next one up is the French Grand Prix. This one's not really, this one's not really.
No one likes this one.
No,
I've never seen anyone thrilled about the Paul Ricard circuit. I mean, it's just
there's all runoff, isn't it? It's all just like.
Well, it's just so much blue on it. It's like, where's the track?
Yeah.
I've actually not watched the French Grand Prix yet, if that makes sense. Because I think, this is their third one now. I think,
yeah.
And the last two I've missed because I've been doing something else. So even if I do watch the next one, it'll be all new to me. And quite frankly, from what I've read, it's a very boring circuit.
Yeah, it's not the most entertaining. Like you said, it's not really like a street circuit like Baku. If you crash out or if you have an issue, there's very little runoff. Whereas the French Grand Prix is just all runoff. So yeah, not too sure what that's going to be like. But then I think it's going to be a triple header next time round. So we've got the French Grand Prix and then 2 Austrian Grand Prix now in a row. Austrian Grand Prix normally brings something out, so 2 in a row there hopefully should be good. So we may have to deal with the French Grand Prix being a bit dull, and then hopefully have something a bit more entertaining in the Austrian Grand Prix as well. But obviously great result, Jamie. Final point on Sergio Perez winning the race.
Yeah, delighted. I think he is literally right now proven that he is the second best driver when it comes to the teams.
Yeah.
I think he has proven that Mercedes have got a problem with their second driver. Hence, it doesn't matter about the car, but that's 2 races now he's missed out on points in it, and that to me could be why Red Bull might win the constructors this year, but we don't know who wins the drivers' championship. We'll see, early days, but it's a great result for Perez, and I think when you win a race more than once, I think that makes it look better.
Yeah,
it's like you have one-hit wonders, don't you? If you can do it more than once, then that looks good. And I think Perez will just love the fact that he's experienced it again, and hopefully that'll just determine him to do it again and again in the future.
Absolutely, and like you said during the stream, he's now beaten the Pastor Maldonado record.
I've been waiting nearly 10 years, but it's done.
Finally, Sergio Perez has more wins than Pastor Maldonado. So if there's nothing else to round off this podcast, I don't know what is. That is the fact that everybody needs to know. But thank you very much for obviously listening. If you joined us on the race live stream as well, obviously welcome to the podcast. But we will obviously continue to do race live streams throughout the year. Of course, we're doing other ones as well, like the Moto GP. We're hoping to do as many races for them as possible. The W Series as well, obviously that'll be in line with the race weekends for the Formula One. We're going to hope to try and do all of them. I think there's 8 races for the W Series, so obviously we'll try and do them. The first are the 2 double headers in Austria, so we'll be looking at them as well. But obviously subscribe to the Let's Talk Sport YouTube channel if you haven't already. We'll obviously, like I said, do all the race live streams and football watch-alongs, golf, any others, Jamie? We've got any others planned? Obviously the Euros is coming as well.
MotoGP, Copa America, the Euros, a lot of sport, but we'll try and cover as much as we can whenever we're free, basically.
Great day for Sergio Perez, obviously winning in Baku. Not an issue really for Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton, simply because neither of their rival got any points, so it's back to square one in terms of going to the French Grand Prix. But great result for Vettel as well and Pierre Gasly. So yeah, absolutely fantastic day for them 3. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. Jamie, thank you very much for being on.
You're welcome.
And we will both see you all in the next video as well. So yeah, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye. Viva Mexico.